The brand that I have the most of looks to be Gucci. I'm currently sitting on the floor of my office surrounded by so many beautiful shoes. These are specifically my luxury shoes and they also kind of fit the summer vibe. So I'm gonna go through each of those with you. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching. My name is Yadira. If you are new, welcome. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. If you haven't already and you would like to, please hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell to get alerts for more of my content, and hopefully I'll see you in the comments. I thought about how it is that I wanted to begin the video. Was it just by color, by style, or by brand? So honestly, I have them arranged currently by color and I'm quite proud of the way they are, starting with the brand that I only have one of, and that is Valentino. The one pair from Valentino that I have are my rock stud sandals, and these are in the color Rose Poudre. I really love these sandals and I sometimes think of buying them again, the same exact style in a different color. I got these in Hawaii and at the time they had a pair that was actually on sale. That one was more in like a pewter gunmetal sort of finish and the studs were like an edgy sort of color. The shoe looked awesome, but I just picked this pair and I kind of think like maybe I should have picked the other one as well because I don't have any shoes in my collection in that particular color. And speaking of color, these are the only Rose Poudre sort of shades that I have within my collection. So definitely do look into Valentino if you want something different outside of white, black, brown, because they do have a lot of beautiful colors. Not only do I love the color of this particular shoe, I also do like the stud detail. They gleam and shine so beautifully on your foot and as you're walking, especially if you're outside and the sun is just shining down. It makes your shoes look pretty gaudy. Valentino has another line of sandals that I was sort of interested in, that is the Roman rock stud sandals. So basically, instead of having this small rock stud detail, it's in the chunkier one. I'm kind of interesting whenever it comes to luxury shoes. I try to think about the color and the style before I like replicate the exact same shoe in a different color. These are one of my favorites and you can kind of tell by the usage that these shoes are showing, and I'm okay with that, right? Use your things, show them love. And honestly, I want a handbag in this particular color, but I don't know. I think Valentino handbags don't really hold their value, and there's a particular bag in my mind in this same color that I want that has been discontinued and I cannot find. So maybe that's the end of the Rose Poudre for my collection. Outside of that sort of pinky tone shoe, I do have one other shoe that is relatively new within my collection. These are by Tory Burch. These are a pair of flats. They are in a ballerina pink sort of color. I don't know the exact name of the color at the top of my head at this point in time. Outside of the Rose Poudre color, this is the only other non-brown white that I have within my collection, and I think this is so beautiful. I honestly got it because of the emblem here being in a silver tone, and then plus the little rhinestones that it has and making it shine and glimmer is just a pure bonus. I find that silver tone jewelry is one of my favorites, and within my collection, as I will go through all of my shoes, you will know that I don't really have many that have silver tone detail. So I thought this pair of shoe, especially on sale, was a must for my collection. And then it's great to have it for the days that I'm going to church, as well as those rainy summer, spring sort of days, or you know, those moments where you're like in between pedicures. Moving on to pair number 3. This is a very well-loved pair within my collection. I honestly did not think that I would love it because of the color, and the pair of shoes that I am talking about are the Oran sandals in the color Blanc by Hermes. I recently spoke about these, and since that video I actually got paint on them. I went to go do my pedicure over the weekend and I don't know how, but I have some color in here and I did shellac on my toes, so I don't think I can go in with like a nail polish remover and take this off. I also didn't want to do it because I thought, okay, maybe I'll rub off the actual leather paint of the shoe, and my husband's like, oh well, we can buy another pair exactly the same. I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna use these shoes even more than I already do. These are one of my most used pair of sandals, or luxury sandals. Actually, these are all my sandals. Any pair of sandals that you see here are literally all of these sandals that I have. I do have a pair of Roxy sandals, and outside of that, these are my sandals. So I definitely should elevate that sometime in the future. But whenever I did feature this shoe on that video, I mentioned that I use this pair of shoes, and that's exactly the reason why, because these are pretty much all of my sandals. Another thing about this particular pair is going back to the Valentino story in the Roman rock stud sandals. I honestly wanted these in the white. Like, that was the only color that I thought of whenever I was thinking of purchasing the Oran sandals from Hermes for the very first time. I had my mind set on whites. I did think about the gold, but I had another pair within my collection that I'll show you a little bit later that was in that sort of similar tone, and I didn't want to replicate the colors, so I was like, okay, let me do a white. And that is why I have not done the Roman stud sandal in the shade black or white, because I already have a white pair. That's kind of what I was referencing on, like, me being a little bit interesting and peculiar with my collection. So this is my only pair of white sandals, and honestly one of my most used, that I should honestly think about getting the Roman stud sandals in the white, or possibly a color between Rose Poudre and the Blanc. So if you have any great recommendations of a white sandal, or whenever you think about a white sandal, what is that particular shoe that you think of? Let me know down in the comments. Moving on to shoe number 3, I'm just gonna stick with Hermes. It's actually the next closest to my reach anyways. So the next pair is the same one that I just showed you, except in the color black or noir. These are one of my newest shoes, my newest luxury shoes outside of the Tory Burch that I just mentioned. That I haven't really used these, but I've definitely given them a try a few times, but I haven't used them as much. So these, even with that fact, I will say that I do want another pair. And even bringing out all of my shoes from my closet over to this room, I was thinking maybe I should look into the Orans in a red. The next color in the Orans, if I was to get them a third time, I would want it to be in the YouTube color, because I do think that that color will match really nice with my Celine micro luggage handbag. I don't think Celine has shoes that are in that particular leather color, so Hermes is like my next best thing. So I think honestly, if I was to get a third pair, it would be in the YouTube color, but red would be fun. I know Hermes has a lot of fun colors. I think that's one of the great things about Hermes, even though I just showed you 2 neutral colors, one in the white and one in the black. I do honestly think that if you're wanting to get a variety of colors within your collection, Hermes does offer a good variety whenever it comes to the Oran sandals. So I think red, like a cherry red, would be nice to have within my collection, because I don't have color when it comes to my summer shoes. Let's move on to Louis Vuitton. I only have 2 pairs of shoes from Louis Vuitton, and the very first one are some slides. These are just your classic slip-on sort of slide. It does have like a wood construction. It has 0 support, which is something that if you're wearing them for, I want to say maybe 2-3 hours plus, you would kind of feel it in your arch. Just so depends how your foot also is, because some people have, you know, just a flat foot and some of them do have an arch. I myself do have an arch, so I kind of find that wearing these particular pair for an extended period, you can kind of feel it with your step. They're still one of my most used, and I really do enjoy this pair. Now, another thing that I remember whenever I first got this is that these are slippery. Whenever you first get them, you need to build the traction on the wood bottom to kind of support you, and I know that kind of sucks because they're luxury. You're already paying this large amount of money to have a slippery shoe. That's kind of the downside, but once you start using them more, they will be quite nice, and I do like this pair. Before I got my Hermes in the Blanc, I already had this pair, and that is why I did not go for the Orans in the gold color. I'm quite happy with that, because I do have my trio of neutrals. If I do ever need a brown, I have it, a black something, I have that, a white or some. Actually, these they match with like anything. When I don't know what shoe to wear, that's likely the one that I'll reach for. So the second pair that I have from Louis Vuitton is a rather famous pair, and this one, honestly, I don't think I would do it again if I had the opportunity to buy it, or if I had this sort of price range in mind to buy for a luxury shoe. The classic Bom Dia in the monogram. Mine is the first version. They have since revamped the shoe, so it could be a better shoe now. I don't have a problem with the comfort level of this particular shoe at all. My thing is the base. When you wear this pair of shoes, everybody knows, not just you, and not because of, oh, it's Louis Vuitton and it's monogram and you have the gold hardware. No. This pair of shoes is loud. They don't just want to be seen, they want to be heard, and you can tell. So I still wear them because obviously I have them, I bought them, you can't return them, and reselling shoes in general is so tough. You kind of get close to nothing. So I do use them, I enjoy them. I bear with the noise of me walking in these because, like I said, they're not uncomfortable. And this particular shoe style, unlike the one that I just showed you by Louis Vuitton, it does kind of have some support there, so they are more comfortable to wear. That is not the problem, it's just the noise. And similar to the wood bottom, this is also a wood bottom, so at the beginning they are slippery. Like I said, they have since changed this particular model and it might have more traction from the beginning. I have no idea. I don't think I would ever recommend this particular shoe or something with canvas, is that it does fray. Like, let me show you, can you see that? So I try to stay away from monogram or canvas sort of material on it because it will fray. Now the other pair of shoes that I have from Louis, these are a leather and it's fine, outside of the actual stitching having a little bit of fraying, which honestly it's a different material, so that is to be expected. The actual shoe itself is quite fine. It's just one of those things, it's not a complete regret. I just wouldn't really recommend it. Like, unless you really want the shoe and you are needing this sort of style of shoe, then go for it. I know Dior is another brand that has a shoe that is sort of similar to the Bom Dia. Now that one, I don't know the comfort level. After experiencing this particular shoe, I don't think I am in the market to find a shoe that is in this sort of aesthetic. So I haven't actually really looked into them. I think Prada is another brand that has a very popular shoe that is very similar to the Bom Dia. I feel like I said more bad things than good things about the Bom Dia, but I still use them. They are part of my collection. I would not get rid of them unless we're like talking about like it doesn't fit me anymore, then maybe. But for now, I think I'm good. And the buckle detail is not a fixed detail, so you can definitely adjust it whether you have a slimmer foot or if you have like some swelling or you just have like a wider foot. This particular shoe can accommodate that. So even if my foot grew sizes, I think it would still be comfortable. If I changed the current setting on the buckle, I had to pause really quick to go get some water. So let's take some quick sips. Great. I carry this thing with me around the entire house. I will link it down below in case you are interested in that one in particular. I got it from Target. But moving on to, let's do Gucci. This is another pair of sandals, and outside of this, it's gonna change a little bit. These are my Gigi Web thong sandals from Gucci. It has the Gucci signature color on the strap. It does have silver tone hardware, so outside of the first silver tone detail on this particular pair of shoes that I mentioned earlier, this is the other pair in my collection that has silver, and honestly it's like a little no-brainer whenever I'm wearing silver. I just kind of grab these, and these I've had in my collection for such a long time. They're actually like one of my original luxury pair of shoes, and I'm kind of seeing a little bit of tarnish on the actual emblem. I might have to clean it because this one looks fine, but this one does have a little bit of spots, so I might just buff it. Now the bottom of this shoe is a little bit more easier to walk on because yes, it is a wood pair of shoe, but it does have this pad on it. This is built with the shoe, so I didn't add these aftermarket, and I can tell that they're lifesavers because otherwise this shoe looks like it would be very slippery, just like the Louis Vuitton sandal that I showed previously, as well as the Orans. The Orans are slippery at the beginning as well. And the thing about wood shoes is that you can kind of see the wear much more sooner, but at the same time you can always paint them because of the wood, right? Actually, I'm not even quite sure if you're wood. It does look like, but I don't know. Oh, really quick on sizing. So I am a US 7.5. I have my Orans in a 38.5. These are made in Italy. The Gucci sandals are a 38.5 as well, also made in Italy, but these fit a little bit bigger than these, even though it is Italy sizing. Now the Louis Vuitton is made in Italy. I have them in a size 38, and this is a good true to size good. and well. I see a lot of watermarks, but obviously I step on the ground. This one also says it's made in Italy. My Valentinos say they are made in Italy. I have them in size 38 and a half. These are putting these two shoes side by side, the difference is minimal. Like honestly, they almost look like they could be the same. Here's the edge. Yeah, it looks like it can be the same, but these are big on me, and so are the Gucci. The Gucci honestly are my biggest pair of sandals. Actually, I have another pair of Gucci shoes that I'll show you that also do fit me big, but comparing the size 38 and a half that I have the Orans and the 38 and a half that I have these Gucci ones in, also both of them being made in Italy, it is so different. It could be because this one's more of a narrow sort of shoe compared to this one being much wider. I don't know, but my Gucci shoes are big on me, with the exception of one pair that I'll show you. But I wanted to mention that because going back to the mom thing, I think it'll allow me to use my shoes longer if my shoe size does fluctuate. So I am okay with that. Now, whenever it comes to like the conversion from Italy to US sizing, if you look at a 7.5, it should equal a size 38, just the way I have my Louis. And actually, I have worn this particular pair of shoes so much. Okay, this says is a 38. Yes. So my Bomb Dias are also in a size 38 and they fit great. Size 38 for my slides from Louis Vuitton as well, and they fit great also. So even though the shoes are made in Italy, the fit is kind of different. I do try to buy my shoes in store. The only pair of shoes that we ordered online was this and also these, because I already have these in another one, so I was like, okay, it'll be the same. And similar to this, like I bought these in store and I tried on the different sizes and I knew this one fit, so I was like, okay, this is my size. And actually my husband bought this pair for me and he just literally looked at the size and ordered it. Did not try these on in store, but I already had a pair, so I knew. What I'm trying to say is that the sizing varies by shoe, but so far Louis Vuitton seems to be more true to size to the conversion charts. But anyways, enough about sizing. I will put a size chart down below in case you are interested and wanting to know. Moving on to my next pair. These are my first pair of heels that I'm going to be showing you. These are by Gucci. These are the Marmont style in the black, and they do come into different heel sizes. I have the small one, which I believe is like a 3.5 inch heel. They do have a taller one, which could be like a 4.5, maybe a 5-inch heel, but I thought that these would be a pair that can take me through the years and not just for that present moment. So for that reason, I did opt for the shorter of the two versions. And the only thing with this pair, just like I was saying with my Gucci sandals just previously, these do fit me big. I do have them in a size 38 actually, which should be my true to size, but they do fit me big, but I still wear them. It's totally fine. I love the amount of detail that this particular shoe has, like even down to the buckle. It has like Gucci engraved in the top portion of the buckle. It's very cute, and then it has a little plaque in the bottom, which honestly, who's gonna be reading your shoes from the bottom, so it doesn't really matter. They did have this particular pair of shoes in more colors. I haven't been into Gucci in such a long time. I honestly, it's not really my vibe per se. Like I liked Gucci in this sort of era whenever it was first launched. Presently, they do have a lot of different styles that I'm not really a fan of whenever it comes to handbags. If your handbags grab my attention, then I will likely be a little bit more versed in everything that you're offering. But because there isn't much within Gucci handbags, at least, that are grabbing my attention, I don't really know what their shoe offering kind of looks like at the moment. Outside of that, they are comfortable. They don't give me blisters, and this holds my feet quite nicely. I like the little wave detail, and it's a nice shoe. It's just that I have it in a size 38 and they fit me a little bit big, so maybe. And I actually did go into the store and I tried on a size 37.5, a size 37, and I tried on 4 different sizes, and this is the size that I opted up with. I do have another 2 pairs. They're both wedges, but I wanted to share this one with you first. This is by Tory Burch, and it has like a similar sort of heel width. Actually, these are taller, and the only thing with these is that these do give me blisters every single time that I wear them. I don't know what it is about the actual, it's probably like the material, or I don't know, but I still wear them because they're like my only brown pair of wedges that I have. And whenever I don't want a black, this is the other alternative I have. Yes, the shoe is pretty, but they're not comfortable, so I cannot wear them for an extended period of time. Proof that I have worn them. And outside of this particular shoe and the ballerinas that I showed you earlier, I do have them again in the same ballerina, which is, this is the mini travel flat. I have it in the shade Cognac, that I probably should have talked about it in side by side with this, because it's my other pair of flats that I have within my collection. Now, I honestly do want to get a luxury pair of flats, and whenever I think of flats, I think about Chanel. So if I do get a luxury pair, I would aim something within Chanel range to try as a luxury brand. But I want to say that most of Chanel's ballerinas are like $1,000 plus. Every time that I go into Chanel, I look more at their handbags and jewelry rather than their actual shoes. But it's something that I do want to do at some point in time, possibly in a black, or I know the beige is a signature color for Chanel, so if they do ever have some in my size, I'll probably try them on and see what I think. But for now, these are my only 2 pair of flats and the only 3 pairs of Tory Burch shoes that I have within my collection, and mostly because I've had a black pair of the mini travel flats before. I used to use it for work a lot, and I honestly wore the shoe to death, so that is why they're no longer in my collection. And outside of that, I wanted to give these a try because I thought they were cute, but they're so uncomfortable that it kind of has stopped me from continuing on buying from Tory Burch. Like, I know this is tried and true, and this is probably the only style within Tory Burch that I would stick to, unless I find another style that does really fit me and does not ache in any way. I was kind of looking into their boots in the wintertime, and whenever I went to go try some on, I didn't think they flattered my foot necessarily, so I am sticking to only the ballerinas whenever it comes to Tory Burch. I've had a pair of like flip-flop sandals, and those were fine. I did have a pair of slides that are similar to this, except they were in the espadrille, and the material was canvas espadrille sort of mix, but it was so tight that the entire shoe was like unforgiving, so I did have to sell that particular pair of shoes. I could not wear it outside of the house, so they were relatively brand new. But outside of that, I haven't had the best luck whenever it comes to Tory Burch. They have a lot of beautiful shoes, and I see a lot of girlies have a beautiful collection of Tory Burch, but for me, just the 3 for now. And then moving on to my other pair of heels. These are also wedges. It's one of my very first pair of wedges. I actually got this as a graduation from college shoe. Like, this was my walk across the stage shoe. My gown was black and my school color was red, and these, they like were perfect. It was a black pair of shoe that had red, right? Like the Burberry prints, and it had a lot of traction. At that point in time, the Christian Louboutins were all the rage, and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to survive the many hours that a university graduation takes in that sort of shoe. So these were perfect, and honestly, the one thing this particular pair has taught me is how I walk because the bottom, you can see how I kind of wear the bottom more on one side than the other, but you can tell my step is not even. So that is something that's apparent to me with this particular shoe, and more so because I feel like I would have to take this particular shoe in for repair sooner rather than later, just so that I don't actually wear through the actual heel, like restore the bottom, give it more life. This is one of my favorite pairs, even though they are much higher or taller than this particular pair by Tory Burch. These are so comfortable, one of my favorites. Comparing them to the Gucci, yes, even then they're much taller than the Gucci's. It's so surprising because the actual platform is not too much. It's just a little bit of a difference compared to the Gucci's, but they're so comfortable. Whenever these were out, they also had them in like a pink. The actual Burberry check was different. Instead of having like the classic colors that Burberry typically has, it was like a light cream, pink, and like a mauve sort of tone. And the actual leather, it was not like the rose poudre, but sort of similar. It was like a pinky sort of color. So I did opt for the black because it was more classic, and oh my gosh, best decision, because these are one of my most favorite wedges. I try to wear them every single time that I get an opportunity, but the only thing is like the pattern, right? Like this would be like a stopper, so I would have to wear something more solid to be able to look very put together. Otherwise, if I'm looking for a heel, the black or the brown are my go-tos during the spring and summertime. So I really do love this particular pair. This was my very first Burberry pair. I had such a great experience that I said, okay, let's buy a second Burberry pair. And that will lead me into my next category, which is espadrilles. Very quickly, I do have these in a size 37.5. That's the only thing that makes me sad, is that they are like true to my size at the moment. But if I like gain a few pounds, I'm pretty sure they're gonna look too small, and they're probably gonna be the very first pair that has to go if my shoe size does fluctuate in the future. But moving on to the espadrilles by Burberry, these are a little bit more subtle whenever it comes to the actual check, whereas if you can see here, this one is more like the regular size check, and this is like a blown up version of it. These are so comfortable. I have them in the size 38.5. These are also a pair that is made in Spain, so that's good to know. I like espadrilles because I find like they're comfortable. Like I said in the beginning, whenever you're in between pedicures, a shoe like this in the spring and summer can sometimes be a lifesaver. It just so depends where you're going, or if you care to show your toes, or even for the rainy days as well. Great option to pull out for those particular moments. And I keep staring at the base because this is very important that it's a rubber, so it has good traction on any sort of flooring. Again, even for rainy days, it's not slippery. So one of my go-tos for those particular moments, the inside, and I think most espadrilles are like this, it's just a flat base. So similar to what I was saying about comfort level with these particular slides, same would go with this particular pair of shoe, but the actual top here is like that fabric where your feet kind of mold a little bit more, and between that and the bottom grip, it just makes for a good blend of comfort. I honestly do think that I would like to get another pair of espadrilles, and I do already have one within my collection, the next pair of espadrilles. So just two so far within my collection. These are a solid black from Gucci. I got these from the Gucci outlets, so I'm pretty sure they have them. Like every time that I would go in there, they kind of had this style. I don't think the actual store might have these as a everyday sort of option, or it could have been that there was like an overflow and so that's why they were in the outlet. I don't know. Regardless, that is where I got this particular pair from. And similar to the Burberry, the bottom is that rubber and the top is actually, these are more stiff compared to the material or the fabric that is in my Burberry pair. These are more like squishy and forgiving, whereas these are more stiff, which could be a plus and minus. Good for longevity for sure. Sort of like the driver shoes for men, like this is the kind of vibe that this particular pair gives off. It does have a little bit of a leather detail on the edges, and it has a little tab right here that says Gucci. The inside is that espadrille material. I don't even know what that's called. Is this like a hay? I don't know. This pair is also made in Spain. The interior of this one, it does kind of have like a leather covering, so these are more comfortable and easier to clean as well compared to the Gucci, but nonetheless, these are the only two. And if I was to get a third, honestly, whenever I think about espadrilles, I think about Chanel. Not only do I think about Chanel whenever it comes to flats, but also with espadrilles. So who knows if my first pair of Chanel shoes, whenever that time may be, would be either in a ballerina or in an espadrille. Let me know down below if you have either in your collection, which one is your favorite, or if you prefer one over the other. I do have one more pair, and similar to the concept of rainy days, in between petties, or you know, if you're going to a zoo or you're going on vacation, whatever, I do have a pair of golden Goose. These are with the gold glitter in the back, and it does have the silver metallic lacing. I actually feel like because of the material, it kind of grabs it more. Like, you know, whenever there's some shoes that you're constantly tying because of how slick the actual shoelace is, because of the construction of this one, like a one and done. You tie your shoes at the beginning of the day, like they will stay put. So not only is it a nice look, a little bit of blingy and cutesiness, it's actually very functional and nice. But the back, if I could do this particular pair all over again, it would be like the glitter. I don't know if you can redo the glitter, but my particular glitter is coming off, and that is just from like whenever you're putting on the shoe and taking it off. So if I am going shopping, I try not to take this particular pair because I know I'm gonna have to constantly be in and out, and that will contribute to additional glitter coming off the heel, which is actually not cool. not something I want to see. This is such a beautiful pair of sneakers. They are comfortable. I would like to get an additional pair. I think I would like to do like a black, I think there's like a black and pearl combination. If I can find a picture, I'll put it here. But it's one of like the sneakers that are in my radar to get. Or if not, having an all solid black I think would be an ideal pair, because I don't have an all black sort of sneaker. I think that is missing within my collection. If you're looking into venturing into Golden Goose, I find that this, my lights just went off. If you're looking into venturing into Golden Goose, this combination is a good first try. It gives you classic, and it does give you that versatility in case you want to match your shoes between gold and silver jewelry. You have that flexibility, so quite nice. My only pair of luxury sneakers, and very much looking into adding them a second time. If you do have any questions, leave those down below. If you have any favorites within your collection that you would like to share with me from a particular brand, or some luxury shoes that are in your radar, let me know down below what those are so I can check them out as well. I want to thank you so very much for spending a little bit of your day with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.